Today, someone desperately needs our help. I saw a post of a person claiming to be one of the worst players in North America. Now, that's completely fine, we all start somewhere. But the problem is with his mindset. Floyd here claims to understand his champions pretty well, on top of knowing how to play aggressive without dying. But his teammates keep picking stupid champions every game and flaming the game away. But in this video, we're gonna find out the real problem in these games. Now, the reason I truly want to help is because this player has been stuck in iron or bronze for over 10 years now. So we absolutely must rescue him from the slums by reviewing everything he needs to change if he wants to climb in solo queue. Real quick, before we get started, if there's anyone in a similar boat where you're really struggling to climb, I strongly recommend joining the Top Lane Academy, where you can be coached by me personally and check out all of my bonus content, so I really hope to see you there. First up, let's check out his champion pool, because the best place to start before queuing up is of course locking in their core champion pool. So if you watched my previous video, you know the most important thing is having one main blind and then maybe a couple of extra champions that have a similar identity. So let's see if he's following those guidelines, but you can see already from his most played champions alone, he's not only playing a bunch of different champions, but 4 different roles. It's very unrealistic for even a challenger player that plays the game for an extremely long amount of time to play 4 roles to the level of their rank. It's very, very rare. So it's very unlikely that a player in iron or in bronze is going to play all 4 of those roles to the level of their rank. It's just not going to be realistic. Now, on top of playing every single role except support, can't blame him, that role's very boring. You can see the champions he's playing are not very simple. Most of them are OTP champs, like Heimerdinger is a champion that mainly one-tricks play, or they're very complicated. So champions like champions like LeBlanc, take an extremely high level of execution to get results on. Now, not only does his most played champions have some concerns here, but also his champions played this week alone. If you think about it logically, he mentioned that he understands his champions well, but I don't think there's any player that understands how to play LeBlanc, Gangplank, and Caitlyn to an extremely high level to the level of their rank at any given moment in the same week. It's just not going to happen realistically. Even a multi-season challenger player wouldn't be able to play those 3 champions to a high level at the same time. But what's actually the solution here? So in my opinion, the best thing this player can do by far is shrink his champion pool down to 2 champions. Yes, technically one tricking would be more optimal, but let's be real, a player that really enjoys playing a wide variety of champs is not going to enjoy the boring journey of the one trick, and you still want to enjoy your journey. We can make it optimal without making it super boring and restrictive. So 2 champions that have a similar champion identity and reference points would be super ideal. But on top of that, you need to stop playing multiple roles. 1 role maximum. I really advise against switching roles, maybe once a season maximum. If you really, I'm so sick of my role, I want to give jungle a try, come back with some perspective, that's fine. But if you're swapping multiple times a season, you're never going to get anywhere long term. But let's take it one step further and give him some examples here. So, in my opinion, looking at your OPGG, the 2 best things you could do right now is either main AD carry or top. So for AD carry, the best champion you could do is of course maining Misfortune. It's your most played champion of all time, you have the most mastery on it, and you actually have success on her this season. Great KDA, really good win rate. I know a lot of people think if my win rate's not 80%, it's bad, but trust me, a 56% win rate for an iron player climbing through iron is extremely good. So lock in the role of AD carry for at least the rest of the season with Misfortune as your main that you pick in most situations. Now, if Misfortune is banned or taken, go something like Jinx. Very clear reference points, both for mobile AD carries. If you're good at Misfortune, you're probably going to be relatively decent at Jinx as well. It's not like switching to a champion like Israel, which is completely different. But for top lane, unfortunately, we're going to have to keep it a lot more simple. The reality is, if you're a player in Iron or Bronze, there is so much about the game that you don't understand and cannot execute. So it's really hard to practice and learn those skills on a champion that's super complicated like a Nan, or a very niche one-trick champion like Heimerdinger. So for that, I recommend, after checking your past seasons and champion mastery, going for the good old reliable Garen as your main, and Dr. Mundo as your secondary for games where Garen is banned or taken, or just games with a very low DPS and Mundo can 1v9. But of course, the majority of our games will be played on Garen. He is the ultimate vehicle for learning top lane. He's a champion where you don't really get punished that heavily for mistakes, and you can practice big skills like side laning, team fight, all of that good stuff, without the harsh penalty of, oh, I'm behind, I'm useless for the rest of the game, like you would experience on Gnar. However, to be completely honest, if I were to pick a role for the student to main, I would actually pick AD carry. And I know that may seem like a big shock to you all. We love top lane on this channel, and we might even miss out on a potential student, but the reality is, learning the game through the lens of AD carry is much easier than top. The reference point of the role as a whole is a lot more straightforward. Now, I'm not going to break down both roles in too much detail, but the reality is for AD carry, if you have low deaths and high CS and only take even or numbers advantage fights, you will win more of your games than not. You will climb consistently. But with top lane, knowing when to group, when to split push, extremely difficult, and the matchup spread one game up against Vayne, the next game up against Darius, it's just very, very different there. So for AD carry, using that as sort of a tool to learn the game, like I mentioned with Garen. You're using Garen as an easy to execute vehicle to learn League of Legends. You can do the same thing with AD carry, which is an easy role macro-wise. Yes, mechanically it can be difficult, but keep in mind, this is a player that's been playing for over 10 years. I can guarantee mechanics is not the reason he's struggling. He's played more games than the majority of players in his rank. It's very likely a game understanding, but we'll find out right now and dive into that gameplay. So we're going to be starting with a couple of top lane examples, but I really didn't want to cherry pick the game, so all I did was pick the most recent Gangplank game that he played, where he's the most fresh on the champion. So we're going to be reviewing it together. Now, two things he mentioned in his post that were a struggle for him, his teammates picking weird champions, but to be honest, all of these champions are very, very good, the exception being Xerath. Now, I do see it occasionally in high-ranked games, but I would call it unusual. But if we actually check the match history of this game, his bot lane did really well. His AD carry even had 27 kills, definitely it's not a issue. Now, another thing he mentioned, he understood his champions very, very well. But with Gangplank, that's going to take some convincing. So let's see how he plays out the lane. So level 1, putting down his barrel. So far, so good. That's exactly what you should do. Put down barrel 1. If you walk near me, I'm going to double barrel you off cooldown. If you E onto me, I'll single barrel. But wait here, you can see double barrels the wave straight away. This is something you should never do on Gangplank. If you've ever versus a GP player or watched any GP VODs, you know this isn't good. But don't take it from me. Let's jump onto YouTube and just search it for ourselves, right? If you don't know a matchup, you can do this if I knew how to spell. Gangplank versus Xin, right? Solobaka, there we go. Perfect. Let's see how he plays this one. So in this one, he's got Grasp as well. Probably he'll take DFT now, but Grasp last year makes a lot of sense. Let's see how he plays the matchup. So level 1 puts the barrel down, and I'm assuming if Xin Zhao goes near me, I'm going to double barrel because that's what every single Gangplank does to me and every single GP that you see. Here we go. Boom, right? It doesn't take long to figure out how to play your champion in the early lane. To figure out the reference points, you just need to do a little bit of homework. But let's go back to the lane. Of course, one mistake, we can't ride him too hard for that. So farming. Now, a thing I really want to see a good understanding of is the short trade, long trade mentality, a cornerstone of top lane. I'm a Gangplank, I have Grasp, I love short trades. He's a Xin Zhao with our team, he loves long trades. So I'm really looking for that. So he actually managed to get priority based on Xin Zhao not understanding the matchup as well. So I really hope to see him utilize his level 2 advantage. So he gets level 2, Xin Zhao has no spell right now, and he's level 1. I'd love to see you pressure him with your barrels. But Q and does nothing. So not utilizing our levels, really important part of top lane. But as long as he understands short trade versus long trading, let's see him. When Xin Zhao gets level 2, yeah, so he sort of holds his ground, pops the ignite, tries to fight him to the death. But you can imagine even with Xin Zhao hitting pineapples, that the long trade lethal tempo champ will win, right? This is something I can kind of see coming ahead of time, because a lot of players really struggle with that in top lane. My champ loves short trades, he loves long, or the reverse, right? And another game, with another student, you might see a Xin Zhao with lethal tempo only taking short trades around his cooldowns. But it's one mistake, and luckily Xin Zhao fixed the wave for him and left it on a freeze. Let's see how he plays it out. So he understands freezing. To be honest, you shouldn't freeze this wave, you lose too much HP. But again, I would say this is fine. He knows what freezing is. He knows how to trim the wave. This is all some good stuff. Now I just want to see him hold the freeze as much as he can. Okay, he can't hold it versus Xin Zhao, that's good. And then just slow push. Jungle burning flash for you, really good. So far, apart from champion identity, how to play your champ level 1, and the short trade, long trade thing that ties into champion understanding and champion mastery, I'm quite happy with the overall gameplay. Maybe could have used his level 2 better, but apart from that. There we go. Gets ganked by Master Yi. Could have warded, but again, Master Yi with blue buff and not scary, so you just walk away. So here, the game plan should be, I want to waste as much time as possible, because if you remember, he mentioned he can play aggressive without dying. So walks up, loses flash. Okay, we have one more chance. We just click backwards here. Me and Elite, Grasp and Electrocute, we like short trades. These two lethal tempo guys are better in extended trades. Let's not take this one. And also, level 5, level 4, level 4, level 3. This is one of the most important basic concepts of League of Legends, right? If they're higher level than you, in most cases, they will be stronger than you, especially in the early game. But we're still taking this, we're still taking it, we love this, and we're dying with the wave in a little bit of an awkward state. But luckily, the Xin Zhao is always super nice and doesn't punish it for us anymore. Item builds fine, trim the wave. You can see in some aspects, again, he's been playing the game for 10 years. He is going to understand some concepts. He knows how to trim the wave and freeze, but he just has zero understanding of how to play his champion. This is what we mentioned in the champion pool section, a really important part. It should get to the point where you can play your champion without thinking deeply about what your champ wants to do, and you only have to think about the gameplay. You can see even that Xin Zhao doesn't know he wins the extended trade. So you got a good short trade. He's in a great position. Level 6 vs 6. Up 20 farm. Let's take a look at what he does. Maybe the mana management could be better. Another gangplank skill. Still staying, still staying. The Xin Zhao so nice. Alright, back timer. If you base here, I'm happy. Stays. Okay, so back timers. Another big concept. So we've seen. And it makes a lot of sense. He doesn't play top lane. He's not going to have it really drilled into him. Level up time is really important. Back timer, the top priority. I say it every day. So important. And long trade versus short trade mentality. These are 3 really important principles I teach often about playing top lane. And he doesn't understand any of them, at least in this game, right? We will check out another one to see if this is just a one-off, gangplank issue. But I would say the main issue is top lane specific problems and also champion mastery related issues. It's nothing to do with wave control and respecting jungle and that type of thing. Again, he took the skirmish because he doesn't understand his champion, and maybe Nidalee don't win extended altercations there. But let's take a look at a game where he's playing a much easier to execute champion with very clear reference points. He might be able to show us a champion understanding here. After all, Gangplank's one of the hardest top lane champs in the game. I don't blame him for struggling. Now you can see Malphite up against Fiora. The Fiora isn't showing. She's running away, doing nothing, losing a bunch of XP. This is horrible for Fiora's game, so he should hard push this wave right away. So hard push. Nice. Could have crashed wave 2 cleaner, but to be honest, I'd say his wave control is above average in terms of iron or bronze plays. So crashes wave 3, and he's level 3 versus 1. Pretty poor mana management yet again, though. You can see this is something if you don't play champs like Malphite or GP very often, you are just going to run in 2 seconds. This should never happen, level 3 out of mana. And if it does, base, right? When we need a base, we base as soon as possible. Like I mentioned, top lane as a role, your back time is your most important thing. So you could have base right here, come back with full mana, TP back with a cloth armor refill, and been in a very good position. You can see keep spamming spells on the wave. This is illegal for top laners everywhere. We use spells on champions and autos on the wave, unless we're one-shotting the wave and basing, something along those lines. We're standing here fighting. So who wants short trades, who wants long trades in this matchup? I'm going to pause for 5 seconds. You can all think about it, but I think just by looking at the keystone, the main rune alone, Comet versus PTA, you know the answer. Fiora wants long trades, I want short trades, right? You can see another game giving extended trades over to the extended trading champion. Keep in mind, he's level 3 versus 2, but because he misses back timer and he doesn't understand that vital, mandatory top lane concept of one party likes short, one party likes long, you can see he gets taken out back every time. TP's back to lane. But again, the opponents he keeps versing has bad wave control. That's why I think his wave control is better than people of his rank. They keep leaving the wave like this for him. So he's still fine. Level 4 versus 3. He's down a sword in terms of gold, but I would say he's still in a comfortable position. I'd be really happy in this spot. Slow push this wave. Poke with Q. Okay, so at this point, right? If we think about Malphite, all we need to do, poke her down with Q. If she goes on us, we'll WE. When her parry's down, hopefully, and then kill her at 6. Now, if he uses spells in the parry, I don't mind. That's an acceptable mistake for this rank, not having an in-depth understanding of the matchup. Like this here, fine. Not an issue at all. I wouldn't even mention it in a coaching session because you're not going to understand all your matchups. What you do need to understand is the big ticket concepts, like what your champion wants to do and stuff like back timers and playing around levels, right? And short trade, long trade. This is pretty good apart from running out of mana yet again, right? This resource management is just way too poor to play these mana-hungry top laners. And it makes sense. He's played Garen, he's played Na, he's played hundreds of champions. A lot of them don't use mana. Or a champ like Heimerdinger, where you set your towers up, you're good to go. But when he plays champs like GP, champs like Malphite, he's really struggling. So I actually disagree with his post in terms of we're champions. There's a Darius jungle player right now. Raider popping off on it. Silas, Jinx, all good champs. Can support, underrated pick. And the fact that he mentioned he can play aggressive without dying, I don't think so. I think he does play pretty aggressive, and I do like that. I'd always prefer a student like this that plays too aggressive and I teach them how to use it than a student that does nothing. But essentially, he's missing every back timer, wasting all his mana on the wave, but of course it all boils down to he doesn't understand the champions that he's playing. Now, I do want to check out a mid game as well, because laning isn't literally the whole game. There are plenty of players who struggle in lane, but they are quite good in terms of mid game decision making and team fighting. So let's see if that's our player here. So on GP, most players right now will just be chilling to level 13 when your barrels are usable. So I'd like to see him get vision down, play it quite slow, and just play for a good farm. Do not fight this Xin Zhao, please. And here we go, right? Zero vision, taking an all-in with Xin Zhao. Of course, we know that's not going to end well. A long-term GP player will know I'm vulnerable in side lane. I just want to farm safely until level 13, get vision down, that type of thing. But it's just one mistake so far, not the end of the world. So yeah, Dragon up in 20. So a top laner should go top right now, push out the wave, and fight Dragon. So let's see if he pulls that off. Perfect, really good. Okay, I'm actually impressed with that, because if he goes top, he's just going to die to Xin Zhao. So hovering mid here is really good. Now, another thing I'd love to see, I always press tab in the mid game and mark who are my most useful teammates. Or a more fun way to say it, who are my humans this game. And this game, our Xerath, even though he's playing a weird champion, is really strong. Got a big item gap over this weird blighting jewel Zillion, and 2-item Tristana. So we want to take any fight with our bot lane here. The group's up for Dragon. Let's put it on his vision. And you have to play quite slow. So Tristana goes in. Let's back him up. So bad barrel placement. Again, a lot of his issues are champion specific. Doesn't proc that barrel straight away. Doesn't tank, doesn't respect the disrespect the Ari charm with his W. You can see it's mainly champion specific. That's why I think if he got his champion pool fixed, and then of course learned some big concepts of the game, he'd be in a much better position. He pushed in top, he grouped a dragon, he based pretty quickly after the fight. I love that whole sequence from him. The only thing that was wrong is he doesn't know how to play this champion. That's pretty much the only thing wrong with that entire play. Grouping out mid. Okay, so dragon's up again. Because he has TP, I would have liked to see him go top first and push out the wave and then come down. But again, in terms of an iron level decision making, trying to climb to bronze silver, perfectly fine. So trading off for farm, this is okay as well because you are a high scaling champ. As long as you don't die here. Yeah, okay. So as soon as you see Xin Zhao arrive, you need to click away straight away. He doesn't really have threat onto you if you leave instantly. So you can't be up here like you own the place, swinging it around. You need to be over here, and you see him leave the bush, and then you leave straight away with a barrel placed. Again, doesn't understand his champion. I will lose the long trade to Jax, to Xin Zhao, to anyone who wants me in side lane. So I need to play a bit more respectful. Watch another sequence. So, Baron up next. I'd like to see him go bottom here, ideally. Because you always want to be on the opposite side of the next objective. But to be honest, in this game, because he has a Yone, him being top is actually perfectly fine. So we're just going to push out the wave as safely as we can and hover our Tristana. That's what I want to see. Push and top, push and top. And dead. And dead. Yeah. So again, all champion understanding. I'm telling you, this guy doesn't have a horrible view of the game. It is above the skill level of he's playing it. He knows wave control. He knows when to push, when to groom, but he just doesn't know how to play his champion. And I guarantee if I watch his NAR games and stuff like that, it'd be the exact same problem as well. So if he could simplify his champion pool to champs that are easier to execute and actually put the time to learn them and study them, because as we saw, he hasn't watched a single Gangplank VOD in his life, and if he did, he would know how to use his barrels in lane. If he could do that, and then focus on improving some of these big concepts, like short trade, long trading, respecting inside, that type of thing, he'd be in a much better position for his climb. For our last example, I wanted to see a game of him playing AD carry, because that's the role I recommended for him to make that journey a lot more simple for him. Now, looking at his team again, they're all playing good champions. Pantheon Galio, amazing. Renekton, great top laner. And Lux is one of the most popular champs in this rank range, and definitely does well. So, all the champs on this team are quite good. In fact, the enemy has a full AD comp, so I'd give him the benefit of the doubt here. Now, I will be honest, I did cherry pick this game, as he went 31 kills and still lost, so definitely some big problems. So, what I expect, right, from this lane, I want to see him and Lux use their range advantage. Stay healthy, maintain good farm, and poke them down. This is pretty much melee versus range. So honestly, use your range advantage and poke them down. So far, so good. So maintaining good farm. Only missed one so far. Avoiding the rell engage and pokes him down. Already, He's shown me in 20 seconds. He understands Misfortune 100 times better than Gangplank. I actually guarantee he could drink 3 or 4 beers and play MF better than GP because he has that champ mastery built in for playing it for many, many seasons. Really good. He's full HP, 1 HP, half HP. The lane is completely over. Just keep pushing them in, never let them base, and the game is a wrap. Now, the same mistake that happened in top lane, I'm seeing it right now, level 2 versus 1. So, 2 things here. He broke his champion fundamental. He got excited, I'm high HP, they're low HP, now I'm a melee champ. Now I'm Jax, right? Now I'm Rel Samira. But you still want to play to your champ's identity. Just because they're low on Jace, doesn't mean I'm going to flash in and be crazy. Same thing here. So, he could refine his champion mastery, even though it's at a much higher level than his Gangplank. It's not high enough, because he doesn't mainly focus on MF. It's his most played, but still, he plays a bunch of other champs too. Taking a level 1 versus 2 trade, so a lack of that understanding, like we talked about, and champion understanding too. But his default, his instinct at the beginning was amazing, but he doesn't really understand and internalize. I want short trades using my range advantage, and I want to respect their engage. On top of the fundamental of, they are higher level, I need to respect. I'm higher level, I need to attack. Watch a little bit more. Again, respecting their engage, respecting the Hex Flash. Definitely understands bot lane better than top. As I say that he melee ranges Sorel. Again, melee range. So, I don't think he's understood what he mentioned. Playing aggressive without dying. That is way harder than it sounds. I think he plays aggressive with dying, to be honest. I think that's a big issue. If he can play to his MF to the level that he showed me level 1 consistently and minimize mistakes, 0 to 1 death every lane, maintain good farm, he'll already climb. He'll already be better than most players in this game. You saw that Samira threw the lane away and Rel threw the lane away instantly in the first 30 seconds. Break the range. Okay, one shot this wave in base. Nice. Back time it looks better in bot than top. So far, so good. We got jungle here. We can bait them in. Thank you, Pantheon. And push it in. Okay, so remember, when he got 2v2 last time, he fully got sucked in as GP. Let's see if he does it on MF. No, they have numbers, like I mentioned. The formula for AD carry, we only want even or numbers advantage fights. Stop. One kill. Galio. Okay, so I am wrong here, but I don't think he was thinking about Galio. I'll be completely honest. So he should walk up with the knowledge of Galio, but in my opinion, if he had Galio or if he had Victor, he would have made the exact same play here. But really good by Galio. And still back in and dies at the end anyway. So yeah, I don't think he's really honed in on that skill. Even Gangplank could be similar. Low diffs, high CS, minimize mistakes. You can see him. This play went quite well. Just chill. You don't need to keep going. You don't need to overforce. You don't need to do anything crazy. He's just dying way too much. 20 CS at 7 minutes is 80 carry. So again, it's much better than his top understanding and his Gangplank understanding, of course. But there's still so many holes because he spent more than half of his league journey not playing AD carry, not playing MF. He's been playing LeBlanc and Gangplank and Nub, and that slows down your journey so much. You break a lot of momentum. Let's say you're improving rapidly at AD carry, and then you play 2 months of LeBlanc. You're actually going to be way worse at AD carry than at the end of your initial AD carry journey, right? So that's what we're seeing here. He just can't execute skills consistently. He can a lot better than top. You saw that from the level 1, but you can see a 28 CS, 2 deaths already. This is late into the game. Against a bot lane that was playing quite poorly, I would say. It's just not a really good read on how to execute his champion. And again here, melee range MF. Definitely lack of understanding on his champion, which is why it's so dangerous to have strong conclusions like that. I understand my champion, I can play aggressive without dying. That's just not reality, and if you can't find the problems yourself by looking at it, that's when it could really help to get a review, like we're doing now, so hopefully he sees this and it does help him out long term. Now, before we wrap this up, I want to break down 3 main takeaways to help Floyd here or any other player in his situation. Now, for champion pool, lock in 1 main role that you stick to for at least a year, and 2 champions in that role maximum. Now, one of them should be your main champ that you play in most situations, but also make them as easy to execute as possible. So Misfortune for AD carry or Garen for top, definitely amazing options. 2, build an understanding of your role and the champion's reference points. So these are essentially a set of guidelines you can follow, like misfortune, keeping your range, staying high HP, maintaining good farm. These are all things you'll understand if you watch a couple of AD carry videos, educational content, or even get a coaching session from one, and then have that be your guideline, your default. If that whole lane he wasn't trying to kill Rel or kill Samira, if he just did what he did level 1, kite them out, stay healthy, maintain good farm, he would have been in such a strong position. Building on these reference points needs to be your default level of play. Now, finally, commit to working on 1 to 2 of these skills at a time while minimizing your time spent in other roles or champions. Yes, if your boys invite you for a normie or a clash game, you can mix it up, you can have a bit of fun, but when it comes to ranked solo queue on your main account, stick to these 2 champions and work on the skills. Maybe you're queuing up for your MF with the goal on, okay, I want to minimize my deaths in team fights. I'm playing too aggressive, trying to get kills. I just want to do as much damage as possible without dying. And if you queue on that, work on it every single game, take notes upon it, you are going to get much better at that skill. And if you work on a few of these skills, playing around levels, playing to your champ's identity, you will climb guaranteed. Alright team, that's it for now. I really hope you enjoyed the video and gained some value. If you'd like to see me make more videos with this type of style, trying to coach and help out the low elo community, let me know in the comments below. I'll definitely see what I can do, and I'll see you all for the next one.